Hello again, and welcome to another Eldon video. This one profiles a new set that I just acquired, the Eldon Daytona Beach Detroit Stock Car Road Race set. I've been looking for one of these. I have never had the stock cars that came with this. I've always had the Eldon sports cars. So this really appealed to me. One of the things I like about the set right away, as you see, is the very nice picture box that the set came in, which is in extraordinarily good condition. I mean, you got to remember, these sets are pushing, this was probably a 1964 set, somewhere around there, and so these are over 40 years old, and the graphics are still very sharp in this set. The other thing that I really like about it, that I didn't have this since I had my original Grand Prix set as a kid, and I can remember it, and that is, if I can get this open here, on the inside, there's a complete box insert. You never see these anymore, which is, over 14 feet of track. And here where all the pieces fit in here, and it was actually shipped to me this way. This entire box was inside another box. But I really like the graphics and the little bullets on here, and it shows you what the layout looks like. And over here we see that layout actually in the flesh, so to speak. And we see it all set up. It's a nice set with a very sharp curve on this side, which had its restoration challenges, which we'll go over in a moment, and a more wider U-turn here. This has, one of the things I want to make sure I cover is, in the other sets I profiled, I never really talked too much about the lap counters. This has the standard dial lap counter that you see a lot in Eldon sets. This was available within the sets or as a separate accessory item. And you see this configured a lot of different ways. This one is, it's hard to tell in this light, but this dial here is slightly more yellow than this dial over here, which is white. They're set by turning them in a counterclockwise fashion here back to 0. And then when the cars run over them with a pin installed, they mark a lap. These are notorious for being inaccurate and not always registering a lap. Interestingly, the first one of these that I've seen, over here, if I just go over to my Power 8 set, which is still set up, I didn't get to show you on the Power 8 video, but this is a very nice track counter that's built into the power track. And you can see the little pegs right here that the registration pin will hit, okay? And then it's reset. Actually, I take that back. The flag of the brushes, the little lead flag will trip it, not the pin. And then you can reset the laps right here. There's also a third type of lap counter that I don't have, which is an overhead type lap counter, which looks very interesting, and I'll hope to acquire one of those. Now, as I mentioned before, this set comes with 2 chassis with bodies already on them, and then 2 extra body shells. In my set, these cars are in very, very good shape. I'm almost a little reluctant to bang them around or drive them too hard because I don't want to mess them up. They have their little imperfections and little scrapes and such, but overall they're in really good shape. As you can see on the right here is a Ford Thunderbird, about a 1962-63 Ford Thunderbird, a 62 Pontiac Bonneville. The yellow car is a Fury, and the white car is an Impala. These cars, although they cosmetically looked really great, I had lots of trouble getting them working. The wires were shot, the brushes were gone. I had to really work on them to get them working, and the track was one of the worst tracks in terms of connectivity and conductivity, if you will, of any of the sets I've ever restored. This was horrible. It didn't look bad, but the track just didn't want to conduct, and it made me go around and around, and I should have known better with the brushes on the cars when that really wasn't what the problem was. It was all in the track needing to be really clean. Documentation wise, this did not come with the what some people refer to as the blue book or the orange book or manual. It came with this kind of funny, almost very little documentation, this kind of a pamphlet, if you will, that shows you how to set everything up. The Daytona, you can see the Daytona Beach Detroit Stock Car Road Race set, number 9813. These cars go pretty good. Oop, as a matter of fact, it went right off the lane. Now, when cars get sluggish like that, what I like to do is take an inspection. I'm using Ninco brushes on these cars. The reason I like these Ninco brushes, even though they may be a little thin, is some of these aftermarket brushes I've seen like on eBay and all that, they're very thick webbing, they're very thick, and they're so thick that the cars, the flag that fits in the groove, the car it has hardly any depth in the slot, and the car will go out of the slot way too easy. And the car will sit high, almost to the point that they're riding on the brushes and not the front tires. So I like these Nincos, and I like to put them in and spread them just slightly to make good contact on the lane. And the other trick in some of these older cars is I like to run up the RPM on the car, full throttle, and then let them go. A pin can be added to the underside of the chassis in one of two positions here, depending on which lane you want it to trigger. Interestingly, the same pin can also be put in down here. A lot of people don't realize that. And what that does is help keep the car on the track in that slot. It's more for junior people who aren't very coordinated. If I put the pin in, you're going to hear the very distinctive sound of it clicking off lamps. I love that sound. I like the 1960s mechanical sound of the lap counter.
A Toy King Wonder presentation in color.